Hi everyone, I hope you're all staying safe and healthy during these crazy times. I'm just going to talk to you about my amazing athletic therapy experience. So, as you all know, this was my team, the OT women's soccer team. I was lucky to work alongside Isabella and Sam throughout the season. Right off the bat, we got to know each other and were able to communicate well and work on things that we wanted to achieve throughout the season. So we all kind of sat down and came up with a couple goals that we wanted to get from this internship. For the girls themselves, they were all very welcoming at the beginning of the season. They all kind of came to us and introduced themselves, which was very nice. We got close with them quickly and enjoyed the season with them very much. The coaches, the girls had warned us, were a little bit difficult to deal with sometimes. We found this at sometimes, but overall, we had a good relationship with them and were able to work with them quite well, which was nice as well. So, some key themes that I learned throughout the season. The first one is having confidence, and this was more just for myself, bringing myself to the team as confident in my skills and ensuring that I'm able to apply them when needed. This helped the athletes come to me when they were hurt and be confident that I was able to help them. The second one is time management. So, this was something that I learned right off the bat as we practice every day of the week, and it took about 3 hours of my day. And game days were even longer. So I had to manage my homework and my classes around being with the team, which I found that I was able to do quite easily. Working as a team showed to be very important, not just within the 3 athletic trainers that we had, but involving the coaches and the girls themselves. I found that when we were all on the same page and working together, that it allowed for the season to go by a lot more smoothly. And learning my athletes. So I got to learn a bunch of them off the bat pretty quickly. And this is more just for knowing them when they're on the field, and if they go down, knowing whether or not they just need a minute to get back up on their feet or if they are seriously injured. So it kind of lets you make better judgment calls on the sidelines. Another thing was early mornings. So before this, I really was not early riser. This especially hit me when we started our 6 a.m. Practices with the lacrosse team. So now I can say that I'm able to get up and start my day earlier and get more things done, which is great. And collaboration, having everybody collaborate together and ensure that everybody. So for the skills that I used throughout the season, my taping techniques, obviously, I can say that I probably did a tape job every single day of the outdoor season, which was great. Stretching and releases were a big one as well, especially the calf releases. Once we introduced those to the girls, they were asking for them constantly. My first aid and first responder skills at the beginning of the season and preseason, there was a lot of first aid that we had to do for blisters and cuts and that kind of stuff, and it kind of died off as the season went on. Luckily, I didn't have any big first responder injuries. We had a couple scary ones with our goalies that required attention, but nothing that I had to actually call an ambulance myself for, which I was lucky. Warm up and cool down. This was more for the indoor season, as the Durham coaches wanted us to run a warm up and cool down for the girls, and this was something that came later on in the season, as well as charting and SWOL. So this was useful and will be useful as I carry on into the. So for course knowledge, that helped me out through the season. Obviously, my AIM knowledge. Wouldn't be able to do the internship without it. I learned so much in such a short period of time. My mental health and first aid, I found this was something that I didn't use a lot, but it was nice to have as we became friends with the athletes, as well as maintaining a professional role. If they came to me about something, I was able to use some of these skills in order to help them out and problem solve with them. My first responder and first aid course, this was also very helpful. I never really had to do anything, thankfully, but knowing that I had the skills and was confident in doing them in case it was an emergency really took off some stress in being able to care for the athletes. For general King classes, all of the courses are helpful in some way. The fitness and health promotion class, as well as exercise rehab, those became helpful as it allowed for me to prescribe some stretches and exercises on the sidelines for girls who weren't training. And this was nice just because it got them moving and kept them kind of going with the team when they were not able to fully train. So some common injuries that I saw throughout the season, ankle sprains were a big one. I was taping ankles every single day. I can say that I got pretty confident in my ankle tape job, which is great. Hip flexor strains, this was another big one. A lot of girls would have tight hip flexors and wouldn't stretch, and then it would become injured in a game, so we dealt with a lot of these. Contusions was a big one. A bunch of our girls got random contusions all over, and especially on their shins, and they didn't want to cover them up, so they would get contusions on top of contusions, and it was not very pretty. Concussions were also another big one. Unfortunately, we had to kind of buckle down with this as the girls wouldn't tell us about their symptoms, and we had to follow protocol, so we had to get a little more harsh with this throughout the season. We also had some weird injuries. Some of the girls had injuries because of improper cleats. One of the girls was missing a stud, which actually caused for a knee injury. We couldn't figure out what it was, and as soon as she switched her cleats, everything was okay. So that was kind of weird. Another one was a rib injury, which we weren't really expecting, and that was kind of new to us as well, but we dealt with it. So the transition to indoor soccer from outdoor, it was a very different game, and this was made apparent to us immediately. Not just for the athletes, but for the coaches as well. The coaches don't like it, on the Durham side at least, and it's different for the athletes as well. Being with the Durham teams, it was a lot different than what was expected with the OT teams. It was just different with those teams, and we did get along with them very well and were able to have a great indoor season. It was just a different environment, I guess. Lots of time management for indoor soccer, as there was 4 different teams that we had to manage between all of us trainers, so it was important that we made schedules at the beginning of each week, which we managed to do pretty well. There was a lot less injuries, and there was a lot less time spent. So practices were only an hour to 2 hours with these guys, which was a lot less time than the outdoor season, which was kind of nice for managing our schoolwork. And so there's a bunch of things that I'll take out of my internship. So the first thing is friendships. Although I maintained a professional role, I became quite good friends with a bunch of the girls on the team, which is nice because I'll be able to maintain these friendships. I gained a lot of knowledge, which I'm thankful for, not just within my skills, but with working with a team and working with coaches and personal skills, that kind of stuff, which was great. Time management, like I have said multiple times, was a big one, and field experience. So just getting out there and getting that hands-on experience with a team and having to act in situations that I may not be the most comfortable in, that is something that I think I've grown a lot in and will take forward into the field that I go into. And just a lot more confidence. So looking back on my first day on the field to my last day, I can say that I had a lot more confidence and was able to do a lot more without hesitation, which is kind of nice for me to look back on. So just a little bit of advice for future trainers. So the first thing I would say is don't estimate your skills. We've been in the AIM classes, and you know your stuff, and trust what you have learned because you have that knowledge. You just need to apply it, and the first time you apply it, it is terrifying, but just trust yourself. Don't miss out on experiences. I found in the beginning some of us trainers would not want to attend to an athlete because we were scared we weren't quite confident in our skills. There's always going to be somebody there to help, so just do your best and get that hands-on experience and help the athletes. And going with this, practice your skills. So I honestly practice my skills a lot of the time at home, outside of the internship itself, and I just found this helped build my confidence as well. And make connections, not only with the athletes, but with the coaches and with Jess and Saul and all you guys. That's important as well. So just a little bit of feedback. So a bootcamp expansion we've talked about would be very helpful. I know the time doesn't allow for it. An online tutorial for SWOL. So this could be something that could be sent out before bootcamp, so we come to bootcamp having knowledge of how to use SWOL, I think would be beneficial. Bi-weekly feedback, so coming with our rubrics, giving us feedback on what we may have done wrong or how we can improve, just so we have an idea of why we got the mark that we got. Ensuring that there's clinic communication when we send an athlete in, and knowing what's going on between the clinic and on field, just having that line of communication, as I found that wasn't always there. Storage, I know this is a hard one as there's not enough keys, but I found with 3 of us athletic therapists, it was difficult when there was only one key and somebody else had to go get stuff, so maybe just making the sign out process of coolers and stuff a little bit easier or accessible. And lastly, just continue to encourage and support us student therapists. You guys do a great job. So my overall experience, I am forever grateful for getting this opportunity. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I will continue to use my skills that I have gained throughout it. Honestly, it has built a strong base for me to carry on into whatever field I end up in. I've learned a lot of skills, and not only hands-on skills but personal skills, which I will be able to use in the healthcare field. I recommend this internship to anybody who gets the chance, and I think it is a great opportunity for kin students. Lastly, I just want to thank you guys. You've taught me so much, and I will continue to use these skills in my career, and I just want to say thank you for everything you've taught me. It's been great.